I have some really bad news considering Days Gone 2, because it's never going to happen, and some really bad news came with that. Now I know there's a lot of YouTubers out there that talks nonsense 24/7 just to rack up some money. This video is not like that. I would recommend you watching this whole one. Now I was mindlessly scrolling through YouTube and I saw a video about Days Gone 2 being confirmed, and I wanted to go and check it up. And that video was total nonsense because it was just confirmed about 13 hours ago that it's never going to happen. There's also a petition out there with 230,000 signatures to get Sony to approve Days Gone 2. Now the article I saw says that Bend Studios confirmed new live service game and that Days Gone 2 is never going to happen. So let's talk about that article quickly. Now it started off with saying that Sony plans to release at least 10 first-party live service games by 2026. Now they still haven't even launched a single one of those, and the Helldivers 2 doesn't seem to count because it's not by the studio of Sony. Now there was a point in time when Sony almost had all of the internal studios working on live service games. Now that's not all of them, but most of them. Now they were working on live service games until Naughty Dog, the studio behind The Last of Us, rebelled and cancelled The Last of Us Online. Now here's where the juicy stuff is going on. Whether Days Gone's developer, otherwise known as Bend Studio, is working on one hasn't been clear up until now, but a new job listing seems to make it pretty clear that they are. Now the reason a job listing is so important is because job ads are constantly revealing details that developers would otherwise never reveal in public. Now this particular job advertisement is saying that Bend Studio is looking for someone with hands-on game development experience in leadership roles shipping AAA live service games. Now before we continue, let's just cover what exactly a live service game is. If you already know what it is, you can just skip forward to this timestamp. The reason I say live service games is the worst kind of games out there, this is why. Now a live service game, otherwise known as an LSG, is a game designed with one sole purpose, and that purpose is to keep people playing for as long as possible in hopes that those players will be paying for microtransactions. Now this is usually accomplished by making the game as engaging as possible. Now it's also important to note that engaging is not always the same thing as fun. Now that engaging also doesn't have to be enjoyable. Engaging just means that it has the ability to keep bringing the players back for more. Now the most common method that live service games use to foster engagement is to make the player feel like they're missing out or they're losing out on something by not coming back to play the game more regularly. Now some examples of this is like daily login bonuses, things like small amounts of in-game currency or in-game resources, minor XP boosts, and so on. Now those bonuses that I just mentioned are used to get players back to check in with the game at least once a day to get that reward. Basically, live service games are psychological traps designed to keep players in the game even if they aren't necessarily enjoying the game. Now that's not even the worst part, they are simultaneously attempting to manipulate you as the player into spending your own hard-earned money in the game on top of whatever the base price of the game is. You can think of this as like League of Legends, Apex, Fortnite, PUBG, so on and so on and so on. Anyways, now that you know what the live service game is, let's continue. Now as I said, they posted an ad looking for a developer with hands-on game development experience in leadership roles shipping AAA live service games. As if that quote doesn't make it clear enough that the change in direction for the studio behind Days Gone, the job listing also asks for someone who has experience redefining studios from traditional boxed products focusing on game development into live service development studios in a key leadership role. Now unfortunately there's no other description of what exactly this game might be. Now that job ad is also filled with other references to live service games and make it clear that this is not a traditional single player adventure. Now also at one point Days Gone director Jeff Ross said that he wanted to make an open world Resistance sequel, but he since moved to Crystal Dynamics to work on the next Tomb Raider game. Now Bend Studio has also been attached to a new Uncharted game before, but it also seems like they moved off of that some time ago. Now more recently Bend officially announced that we are currently working on a new IP that includes multiplayer and builds upon the open world system of Days Gone. The fact that the game is a new IP rules out any connection with Days Gone, but oddly, despite the controversy over the game and whether it deserves a sequel or not, there's also plans to make a movie based on it. I can't be making these things up. The article I'm just read to you is in the description. Go and click on it if you don't believe me. I seriously feel a bit betrayed because every AAA game studio now is heading towards some sort of live service game. Like even Call of Duty, it's a debatable subject that they are a live service game. Basically they are by now. Call of Duty released Modern Warfare 3 not too long ago. That was the shortest campaign I've ever seen in a Call of Duty game. It's almost like they spent most of their time to make it as engaging on the online part as they could. I don't know, I'm just a consumer. Let me know what you think about this subject in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed this video please subscribe. I make a lot of videos like this as well. So I'll see you guys on the next video, please.